Okay, I forget. I can talk to you now. Basically, I have a monitor.
Hold on, hold on. Actually, we had trailing conversations after we were off yesterday.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it at the end.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
How are you?
I'm okay, man. How are you?
You know, it's good. It's good. It was interesting having a day off in the middle of the week. Um,
Yeah, tell me about that. I don't know what that's like.
I don't either till yesterday. um, it was tough, bro. It was real tough. It was hard not to put hands on my devices, especially since it was like an orientation day. It wasn't like an actual school day, right? Like this was
Oh,
just kind of
so
onboarding,
yeah, hurry up and
curriculum.
wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was good. I mean, it's good, but yeah, it was tough. So one time during orientation, about halfway through it, she was like, "Okay," and so I want to encourage everybody that I know this is going to be tough, but we're not going to have cell phones in here, because we want everyone locked in. And parents, you can keep your cell phones with you, but we want them turned over on the desk. And basically, I don't want you on them unless you absolutely need it. Answer your emergency calls, blah blah blah, things like that. And it's at that moment that my daughter turned to me and goes, "Dad, can you do that?"
Dang,
So
those
pumped.
are bus tossing gloves, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Honestly, that's pretty
but
great.
I love it. I love it. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna be. It'll be looking at it like a challenge, obviously for me. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. But afterwards, I did go check my email, at 3:45, 4 o'clock, and I didn't have anything hanging out too bad. So no big monsters in the email box.
Man, we build it up so much. I'm gonna miss everything. I'm gonna miss everything, and then you look up and nothing that bad has been missed.
It was fun. And I did a little bit of work before, but not much. Maybe 20 to 30 minutes worth of stuff just to make sure nothing would bite me. So, and I got up earlier and got my steps in and got my workout in. So, um, yeah, it's good. It went really good. How'd your day go?
So yesterday was Alice's birthday, and it
Yes.
was awesome, man. It was so cool. A friend of mine, Mike, who lives in Chicago, ordered donuts for her and like had like a FaceTime call with her, so they got to do donuts together.
Awesome.
Clint from the show had ordered a book for her, and that came in, and so she got some presents. And what all happened? We had lots of phone calls and videos, and we showed her the video. We reached out to some people who knew her and said, "Hey, would you like to contribute?" Because being an only kid is hard right now, especially with parents, or at least one parent who's like incredibly driven and works too much. So uh, we
Melissa.
got
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah. Um, so we got videos from like a whole range of people. Like you gave one, which was amazing, and Michelle and her husband Jay and her daughters who we've known for forever, and it's just like the messages were just like overwhelmingly sweet and amazing, and it blew me away to watch them. And then I had to go record mine, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Like like I'm just blown away by this 8-year-old's ability to get people to like, care.
Mm-hmm.
Blew me away. So we watched that. I'd signed her up for a band that we really like, their fan club, and so signing up for that got her a birthday video from the lead singer. So of course,
Ooh.
that was a huge deal.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah, very, very cool. Thanks a lot, Coop. I appreciate that. You're not watching, but I'll give you a shout out anyway
Yeah.
because this band is awesome. They were called Spirit Animal, and they decided that with everything going on right now, to change the name, and so they are changing their name to Record Heat. So Record Heat out of Brooklyn, solid group, cool group of guys. Um, Swamp Day yesterday. I talked to Michael, our Michael Processology, super. I mean, love that dude to death. And then I had this really cool conversation with this woman who was really interested in what I do for herself and for one of her clients, who just happens to be a book publishing company. And what they do is they work with people to kind of figure out the formation and what you're going to do and everything else like this. And so I was like, man, this is so odd timing. And she was like, why? And I was like, I've got 25,000 words. And she was like, okay, like what's your story? And so I kind of gave her like the broad overview of like my background. And she was like, oh, you totally have a memoir. And I was like, no, this isn't like a memoir. This is like actionable for small business owners who have to sell but eventually don't want to. So you can build the systems using this book and then hand this to your salesperson so that way they can keep on the development track because it never stops. And she was like, you got to talk to these people immediately. This is going to be huge. And I was just like, okay. So it's crazy whenever things kind of fall just like in line, because I've been thinking for a couple of days of like, I need to put out the ask to my network about who's done the book thing, because Melissa is a great editor and a great proofreader and stuff like this, but we've never done this thing before. And if I'm going to go do the book thing, I wanted to give it the best shot possible. And the woman I was talking with yesterday, she was like, yeah, don't let friends or family, try to like edit this for you, because they're either going to be way too nice or they're not going to get it. And I was like, that's completely fair. So
yeah, if you're going the book route, that makes sense.
Yeah, really, really, really cool person. And it's weird to feel like I've got so much momentum that it now feels almost like too much. You know what I'm saying? For like leads and stuff like this, because Michael wants to work on a project about his sales process. This woman, Jamie, for herself and for this other client and stuff like this, and got some other leads that I'm working on as well. And so it's fantastic. I'm happy to have all the leads, but what's going to happen is you're going to have a moment to where you hit this spot that I'm in right now, and you're going to say, oh, wait, I need to take my foot off the gas. And that's the last thing you need to be doing, because what's going to happen is when you stop prospecting, the lagging effects of that gap in time are not going to show up for 30, 60, 90 days, depending upon how you run and how good you are at selling. So even though I'm feeling this pressure of feeling like, I've got lots of leads and I don't know if I can service them all and stuff like this, some of these leads are not going to close. So if I start to dial back my prospecting, what's going to happen is it's going to put me into a situation to where it's like, cool, I need to capitalize on these opportunities right here. And what happens is that's going to make me abandon my process. It's going to make me start to hope and make me start to do these things that are going to take me way off track, all because I'm feeling a little bit of pressure in the moment, even though these deals aren't inked or, done yet. So
right. So that makes me think about what the stuff I've been trying to figure out for mine is, instead of I don't have that exact same problem. I have a steady amount of leads coming in, and I don't feel overwhelmed. But mine is I want to figure out how to do more. Like, how do I systemize something I'm doing and take it off my plate? Like, what am I doing too much of so that I can go get more leads? It's kind of the opposite way. I totally have felt the exact same way in the past. Like, oh crap, I got to slow down. I can't keep up with all this. And have hit the lull that you're talking about. Like, I have taken my foot off the gas a couple times in my career, specifically going, I've got too much, and then hit that lull, and it's like, oh, I should have never done that. So
I think
it's about that. I was just saying, it's just about that productization. Like, what is there that you can sell that can keep you in business that's productized and processed, so that you can spend the time that you want on the things
doing other stuff. Eventually what I would like to do is do like a group version of this, right? Get 5 people in here and like, okay, cool. Like, let's figure out your process and let's figure out what to say no to. Let's figure out your commission schedule. Let's figure out your disc personality. And do you want to match with you, or do you want to go opposite of you to kind of, have a separation and diversification of, personalities in your business? Because good teams have different personalities on them, right? If you put 5 Ds on a team, you're going nowhere. You're going to go in 5 different directions, right? If you get 5 Cs together, you guys are just going to endlessly debate about which way is going to be best based upon what way you're trying to optimize it, right? And the Is are just going to tell stories about other things that they've gone on. Exactly, yeah. And S's are just going to be like, do we need to go anywhere? I'm just kidding. They're not that bad, but good teams require balance, right? And if you're, you gotta look for that, because it doesn't make any sense for most people to try to clone themselves and their skill set in their business, right? Because you can do that work already. Why are you trying to duplicate yourself?
What's really interesting is I feel like a lot of people will end up trying to work with people that like them, because you see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I was going through a paid a client gig the other day and he's talking about bringing on leadership. And I was like, okay, well, let's step back and go, number one, why do you need more leadership? Like, this is a brand new startup. Do you need funds? Do you need another skill set you don't have? Like what? We talked through that. And I said, great. I think it would be a great idea for you to understand, because he understands who he is on the personality profile. It would be good to understand what your biggest need is, and then go out and find somebody who has those skill sets and a personality to fit that. Not just, and we even talked about hiring versus actually bringing a partner on. And that was all in kind of the purpose stuff that I do is understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And that includes balanced teams. If you don't have that, I've made the mistake. I've done that before. Of bringing on a partner that was too much like me, and we just really had a great time for a year and made a little bit of money and then shut it down.
Yeah. Jeff talks about that before me, right? And us working together, and before he understood all the disc stuff, he would just hire people who were just like him because, of course, right, we get along really well and I trust this person because they're wired and they operate just the way that I do. And he goes, man, the fun times were really, really fun, but when it got bad, nobody was like able to work because like eyes tend to get creative when they're stressed out, and as opposed to just like putting their head down and knocking out the tasks and stuff like this. So, so he's like, man, when anybody got stressed out, everybody got stressed out and nothing got done. So I'm looking to work with somebody who's not like me to try to have some balance for that. And I was kind of like, okay, cool. But yeah, man, the important thing to note here is that the only reason that I'm feeling this pressure is because it's just different than what it was 2 to 3 weeks ago, right? I have about 9 leads, which are totally workable, and some of them aren't going to close because we haven't had qualifying conversations yet and stuff like this. So, it's important to not make a rash decision just based upon how you're feeling like right here in this moment, right? Because I'll stop prospecting, I'll start to stress and everything else like this. These deals aren't closed. I don't have any obligations to these 9 people other than to have conversations and see if it makes sense for us to like work together. But yeah, I mean, productizing so that way you can do more is like the next step. So last night in my journaling, I was really kind of figuring out what the steps that I'm doing, that like how to shift that to like a group environment. So that way I can put like, okay, cool. Like let's get 5 people together. So for a little bit less than I would normally charge for it. And I'll supply the things that I need to supply, but more of like a done with you kind of like version of it, as opposed to just doing it all done for you right now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Absolutely. Love it. Last year I wrote down on my board for 2020 before all this craziness went around was I need a DIY, I need it done with you, and then I need it done for you. That's the offers I need. And so I've been circling on that all year and working on it, and it's been good so far. I love it.
I think that this manifesto thing that I've been working on, if we do go the book route, could also be repurposed into like just like a done by you, right? So like you could read the book and then here's like a workbook kind of deal. I don't know yet. I'm getting way ahead of myself and starting to build some expectations, and I need to stop because we're not there yet. But yeah, I'll be done with it today.
Okay. Yeah, that's the build bet, right?
That's the build bet by tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, remind me, I think I told you once before, I get you with Mark Steele if you didn't connect with him.
I haven't connected with him yet, no.
Okay. He launched his book yesterday, and it went international bestseller on Amazon.
On one day?
I'm telling you, the dude knows what he's doing. You should connect with him.
Yeah. Will you connect me today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, man.
He's in my accountability group. We set this up. We made sure he had the right goals. He went and found the right people. And so that's going to be a huge testament for my accountability group. I was there with him the whole way, writing the book and everything. So if you need some help getting something awesome done, come join my group, y'all.
Yes, absolutely. It's so funny because we started off with this thing very purposefully trying to like get people into our groups and in my weekly email and stuff like this, and largely it's become pretty inwardly focused, right? I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I can't imagine now waking up and like starting like a work day and like not having this conversation and being, forced into some straight and narrow. Yep. So I, totally agree. Thank you, man. Thank you.
I love it too. I was telling my son that the other day. He was like, "Dad, are you ever going to stop doing that morning call, or is that like just the thing you do now?" I was like, "It's just the thing I do now. It's how I start my morning." So, nothing's particularly forever, but as far as I know, this one's sticking around.
Man, change the subject completely, but like huge shout out to my buddy Matt Stifler who had a baby at like 4 a.m. this morning. So they went to the hospital yesterday. Like on Alice's birthday. So he texted me and he was like, "Hey man, I'm having a baby today." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" And then so we called and caught up and everything. And the stories were just like mine and Melissa's. His wife had really high blood pressure, so they were deciding to induce. And so my good friend Matt had his little boy last night, or actually this morning. So just wanted to say that's huge and awesome, and good for him. And he's related to Michelle, who is drawing some of the dots inside of my
There it is.
web. So yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Michelle's husband is Matt's brother.
Okay, I got you.
Now we're just like old men. You don't know Bill?
Come on, the whole Stiflers, all of them.
Dude, they're a clan, man. There are so many Stiflers. It's crazy.
Man, I just want to go get to know the ones in Tennessee on the farm a little bit first.
Yes.
Go hang out there a little bit. Then we'll move out into the clan.
Just for food.
Levi,
what do you got today, Bill? What's up, Levi?
Yeah, thanks, Levi. Yeah, it is. And we talk about when you're doing different things with businesses. Like what's funny, I was connected earlier actually to kids when you were talking. I didn't say that you. There's this amazing feeling when other people, adults, talk kindly and nicely and say cool things about your kids that you just cannot replace that feeling. There's but more pride in that than when they compliment you. You're just like, oh my gosh. So same thing here, right? Like I have this group. I think it's good. I think it gets a lot done for me personally, but when other people start succeeding in it, it's even better. Like when people are like, I did this, thanks so much for your help in that, And so it's the same feeling sort of thing. So today I actually have another client engagement, paid client engagement. So I'm doing a positioning from 2 to 4 today. So I'm excited about that. Get somebody, help them figure out how to place their stuff in the market better. And then I've got follow-up notes on purpose and positioning from last week. We're going to do some edits to the notes. So cool. That'll be fun. For deliverables on that. I am still chasing guests for the show and for people into the to the
what
group.
Show?
The Quirk one, Clarity and Purpose.
The Quirk one. Okay.
Yeah. And then I've got a whole bunch of blocking and tackling today. Actually, just stuff I got to clean up.
Man, I have a lot.
Yeah. So it's a Thursday, which is why I'm wearing my Tiger shirt because I got to come hard today. It's a ferocity.
How
about you?
So we've got. Oh man, I did something dumb. I'm not protecting my time on Thursday mornings with for when we're doing the role play groups, and so I allowed someone to schedule. I'll let's figure that out. One thing to kind of talk about real quick is that there are people who are going to think that the work is supposed to be done in a certain way. Right. And this is important, right? Because if you don't have the strength of your convictions and the historical evidence and everything else like this, you're probably going to be you're going to feel some pressure to kind of, do it their way as opposed to the way that to do it and stuff like this. And I'm going through that with a client right now. And we've built a CRM. And normally I make people run in their CRM for 2 to 3 weeks or maybe even a month before we start bringing in automations and stuff like this. That way we make sure that the way that you're using it makes sense. And so I have a client and they're in a hurry to get all of this done, right? And so they want to do all the automations now, and they want to do all the API work and all the connections and everything else like this. And I'm like, man, we've already changed 3 things. We changed the dialer that you wanted to use. We're changing this. So I told him, I said, look, we need to have a conversation today because you're kind of breaking my process, and I'm down to do it differently, but we need to have some agreements in place because I have some concerns, right? And we're gonna have to get on this call, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to make sure, because I'm not doing this work, right? So it's going to contractors and going to my team and stuff like that, and there's cost associated with it. And this is not any different than any other change order, scope creep, anything else that you see in any creative thing that anybody does. So here's the deal, right? I can say, oh yes, sure, and not bring up my concerns, right? And then start to like have resentment and stuff like this towards my client, which is not my goal, because he's like a really good friend of mine, right? Or we can have a conversation and I can try to understand why it's so important for this to be quick, and then we can make agreements, right? Because if we come in and we do all this work of connecting everything and doing all this apps and all the APIs and the dashboards and everything else like this, and then we change everything, that's more work, right? And since he's not even really using the CRM, we haven't done really enough volume for for it to be tried and true. So we get to have that conversation today. So
okay,
this is important because you can treat this any way you want, right? You can get mad about it and not address it, which isn't helpful, right? You can just be passive aggressive and do it, and then just like resent that client and, all right, I can't wait to fire this client. I don't really believe that to be helpful either. Or you go and you have the conversation, right? And not from like a stance of like, what the hell, bro? But more of like, man, I'm confused. I do this all the time. We have a process. What happens if you want to change one of these big puzzle pieces, because it's going to incur hours and time and everything else? How do you want to handle that?
Yep.
So get to have that conversation here in a little bit, but that's important because sometimes you're going to feel this pressure of like, man, I got to do it their way or else they're going to leave and stuff like this. And that's not usually the case, right? They just have an expectation, but you're the business owner. So it's on you to reset that expectation and hold them to that and make sure that it's beneficial for both sides.
Even more so, you're the expert.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the business, but they came to you before your expertise, right? They want to know, what are you telling me that your other clients have done? I want to succeed that way, and that's a perfect example of how it's like not the same as scope creep, but it has the same feeling of scope creep.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
It's funny because slightly off topic. In both the conversations that I had yesterday, Michael was reading Obviously Awesome, which is right back here on my bookshelf, right there, orange lid.
Love
and then the next call with that woman I was telling you about, she was also talking about the book. She was like, it's on my stack. I can't wait to read this thing. I'm a nut about positioning. And I was like, what book is it? And she was like, oh, Obviously Awesome. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm reading that as well. And Mike is actually going through like the whole process. Like he's building a positioning and team, which is what, he and I kind of talked about it from like the sales side of it. So it's cool that book is getting noticed and is being passed around and stuff like that, because I think it's really good. I mean, I don't think I'm good at the concepts in it, but kind of broke my head.
It's it's a whole lot of fun reading it, the next week taking someone through it, the next week taking two people through it. Like the concepts are starting to stick so well in my head just because of use and having to turn around and teach it. I mean, we always talk about that, teaching cements in your head, no other ways do. So It's been fun. I can't wait to do the one today. It's my second one this week, and it'll be awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, she was really, really cool, and I'm digging the book. And this is the thing, right? It's about how many times can you do it. Like, you're a big story brand fan, right? And I see value in the story brand thing, but like I can't work my way through that process, right? Not with any great alacrity, or is alacrity the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. With any great results, because I've done it enough, right? The only difference between Jake and me is the amount of times he's done it versus the times that I have not, right? So, and the other decision you have to go in and figure out is like, is it worth my time and my effort to go do that the 500 times it's going to be necessary to get really good at it, or should I work with someone like Jake who has done those reps, right, and stuff like this?
Yep. That's everything. That's the everyday decision in your business, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Anyway, man,
today?
I have that call. I have a coaching call with a buddy, just like kind of like a regular lunch call. I got a new introduction from a guy who's like a brand new financial advisor. So he's trying to figure it out. And so we're going to have a conversation and, maybe sales lab, maybe some sort of cold calling thing, or maybe some sort of process build out. I'm not really sure. It could be nothing. And get the damn manifesto thing done. That's it.
Good, man. You got that.
If it's 8:00 tonight and I'm still writing, that's why. So
okay. That's what we'll find out in the morning, right?
just being like I at about 8 o'clock last night. We're kind of winding down and we're just watching TV, and like Alice has obviously had a huge day, and I was mentally just like, I should just go right. I should just go right. I should just go right. Not because like I just want to get it done at this point, right? So that way I can move on. I got some projects and some other stuff I need to do. So this is becoming a cumbersome thing. So I need to get it done.
Yep.
Today.
All right.
So,
Well, we'll talk about it being done tomorrow then, right?
absolutely.
Complete. All right, Bill.
Complete. All right, Bill.
Well, that's all I got. I'm just going to go nail this Thursday.
Me too, man. Absolutely.
All right. Cool. Well, have a good one.
All right, man.